What's up, guys? I'm Kyle Milan. It's Tuesday, and it's the first Tuesday of the month. I brought my guest Christian with me today.
And I brought with me the fire extinguisher. Because we're going to put out all those marketing mistakes that are causing fires.
Okay, and we're going to bring in special guests and shoot them with the fire extinguisher.
Hey, sure, let's
Right.
go.
Laura's just got to get the guests to come in. So, guys, for those of you new to the content, we are at Milan Media's headquarters in the studio. We come live. We were coming live every week, but now we've had to reduce it to monthly to consolidate all the information into one video because we're busy with client stuff, shooting our own content, special projects, etc. For those of you that have been watching the content for a while, hopefully you like the new show intro that the video team, I was going to say development team, the video team put together. Hopefully you get some love back from that, all the hard work that was put into it. So today we're talking about marketing mistakes and the top 5 things to avoid in 2025. But before we jump into it, if you're new to the content, head over to YouTube, type in my name or type in Milan Media, subscribe to those YouTube channels. We've got over 2,000 videos on my channel talking about marketing, sales, everything in between, anything we can do to help you guys out with your marketing. We bring the tactics that we use daily for our clients, what works, what doesn't, how we're scaling, etc. We're just here to provide as much relevant information as possible. Ready to get into it, Laura? Laura says ready to get into it. So let's jump into it. What is mistake number 1, Christian? I'm going to write them on the board.
All right. Marketing mistake number 1 to avoid in 2025, not tracking performance.
All right. Not tracking performance. Talk to me about that.
So I pulled up an interesting stat from Statista, the website where you can find reports on multiple things. It says that during a 2024 global survey among marketing and media leaders, around 61% reported having a somewhat clear picture of how their content was performing, while 26% said they had a very clear view. Approximately 13% stated it was not at all clear. And according to the same study, retaining and expanding a customer base was the most impactful content measure, driving organizations' revenues. So when you put it in perspective, if 61 have a somewhat clear idea, that means that around 39% don't have a clue.
Yeah.
And there's just a very limited amount of people that actually are tracking their marketing the correct way.
So do you think in your experience here and even before, do you think that 61% is true?
I think that number is high. It's inflated. I think even when you think you know, when you actually look at the numbers, there's always doubt. I feel like there's a general doubt and there's no true confidence in the data just because there's so many things that could be in between, right? False data, spam submissions, traffic that comes from bots. There's just so many things that the data is not always accurate or pure, which makes you double guess, right?
Well, and even our conversion set up correctly, right? We've dealt with that so many times, whether it's Google changes something, our clients come in with something that, hey, we got this many conversions, but once we bring them in as a client, we look at it, it's like, wow, that's not actually true because of how you're tracking conversions, right? So I would definitely agree with Christian. The numbers in general high. I'd say maybe it's closer to like 50%, but even still, I would I would venture to say that probably 25% of the people know it, like know their data. Their data is clean, accurate, tracking properly, and they're tracking the right things, right? Like I just had a former client, reach out to me, and she sent me an email and she said, "Hey, we want to. We never did marketing for her. We just did some web stuff." And she said, "Hey, we're tracking metrics now." I'm like, "Cool." And she's like, "I need to know where I can find website visitors because that's a metric that we're going to track." And so if I was a fly on the wall in that conversation, somebody could have been like, "Hey, you need to know how many people come to your website." And while that is important to a certain extent, like what does that really tell you? It just tells you how many people came to your site, but doesn't really paint the whole picture. And if you're focusing on that metric of website traffic, we want to increase website traffic. What are you doing for me, Christian, with your marketing to increase my website traffic? But I don't look at engagement rate or opposite of bounce rate or pages per session, time on site, or most importantly of all, conversions. That's really what matters most. So I think to that statistic, yeah, I would say 25% of the people that I've dealt with even if they don't become a client, we just have discovery calls, conversations. 25% actually know what they're talking about.
Yeah. And also, I think when you look at what they're tracking, right? Let's say they're tracking visitors. If you're relying on Google Analytics, for example, to track website visitors, the information might not be always 100% accurate. Why? For example, last month, or I think it was in May, beginning of May, Google quietly updated some of their cookies that help with tracking, and people lost tracking data all over the world because of that change. So when you're relying on these big companies to do tracking for you, you might lose information if they go through an outage, if they make changes. So I think one key thing to do when you're setting up tracking and performance is not to just set it and forget it. You need to be constantly checking the setup. Is it correct? Go to the reports, make sure everything is tracking, just so you don't really rely on only one thing.
Yeah, and so those giants have, like, Google has the core access to the information, and you can certainly do reporting strictly through it. But we use a system called DataBox. And if you guys want competitive pricing, discounted pricing, just shoot me a message or put in the comments that you want to know more about DataBox. But we've used every type of reporting system. And because we're an agency and because we deal with lots of clients and lots of information, we need a system that's going to bring all of those different sources of information into a single location for us to then monitor, measure it, and take action against it. And I've probably gone through 10 systems in the last 10 years because each system has, a good approach, some pros and cons versus it. And we've landed on DataBox now for the last year because they seem to do it the best. And that's what we've noticed. And that we're able to pull Google CRM data, paid media, SEO stuff, all that performance into a centralized location, and then create live data loops to show where you're at with those metrics, right? And create custom metrics and new calculations and all that stuff. So if you're a client of ours, you have access to that where you get a link and it shows you that information in real time. So that way everybody's looking at the right data. The first step is make sure it's accurate and set up correctly. Because if you're pulling information from Google, but it's not set up correctly with the right conversions, and if they do something with the cookies and it jacks everything up, then you're going to be looking at your data like, this was either good or bad from the previous month or the previous year. And you're making decisions off of data that's not clean. So DataBox to us at this point in the game, in particular to me, is the best system out there to collaborate all that data together. And it's really not that expensive. But you have to, like, how could I go to Christian and say, Christian, you need to change your marketing strategy if he comes back to me and says, but let's look at the data. The data shows that we're going in the right direction, right? Like, you got to base all your decisions off of that data.
That's right.
And if you don't have access to it, shoot one of us a message and we'll show you guys how to set it up. All right, mistake number 2.
All right, mistake number 2, when you're doing marketing in 2025, and you want to avoid this one for sure, is not using AI.
Ooh, popular subject. Not using AI.
So I think there's a lot of people that are using AI, period, right? For their daily activities. Let's say they're drafting emails, they use AI to make it better. If they're writing copy, they use AI to also improve the copy. But they're not using AI to its potential. So, for example, you could use AI to take data from the past 12 months and help you analyze the data and make decisions based on that. So that's the type of AI usage that we're talking. It's not creating the Barbie dolls out of pictures or how your dog would look if it was a kid. I've done that.
Have you?
Kid though. But it's more of how do we have AI analyze data that makes true impact in our marketing efforts.
Yeah, because all it is a supercomputer, right? Mm-hmm. And so instead of taking, like Christian's saying, instead of taking all this information, whether it's 12 months of marketing analytics, 12 months of straight data out of social, Google, does not matter, or just data from a spreadsheet. Here's a massive amount of information. Here's how I want you to organize it, and I want you to output back to me in this type of format. You have to be careful depending on the system that you're using, right? If you just go to ChatGPT, the free version, and say, here's a bunch of data, spit it back to me this way, it's going to choke on it. It's going to jumble the fields, the cells, the information's not going to be accurate. I've noticed so many times that it'll start to fill in information. It's like, wait a minute, is that even accurate? Great catch, Kyle. This is actually not accurate. And that's what it says back to you. So So like what Christian's saying is you can take it from a simplistic approach and start to feed it information or feed it a table, but then ask for the output back in some sort of simplistic way. Have you ever dealt with that issue?
Oh
With
yeah,
it?
for
Yeah.
sure. It misses some rows if you give it like a CSV or a table, and I'm like, hey, but you missed a few rows here and there, and the AI says, oh yeah, you're right, right. So
Yeah.
depending on it all depends on which version you use, and how you preface what you want it to do. So
Right.
you have to be very specific with the instructions. Now, one great thing that we've done internally is we connected ChatGPT with our own HubSpot portal, and HubSpot was the first CRM to actually enable a connection for deep research using ChatGPT. So what does this do? Well, you can, after you hook it up, you can just ask questions like, hey, how many leads did I get last week? Find some common trends on the leads we're getting. So you can do a deep research on your own portal, your own data. And if you are a client of ours and you haven't tested this yet, please just shoot me a message and we can look at it together. It's really, really a game changer when you have all the data in your CRM, and then you can use the power of ChatGPT to do research on it, to find similar clients, to find gaps in your data. It's really an amazing thing that you can use to your advantage.
Yeah. So common uses that you guys would probably be using ChatGPT for could be something like that, connecting it to HubSpot and having it analyze the data. It could be something like Christian said, writing email copy, but you have to be careful. You have to look at it and say, all right, here's my situation. And we've built custom GPTs. We've got, I don't know, 20, 30 of them running in this office that Christian and I have built to handle certain tasks. But let's say you wanted to write email copy and you're just using regular GPT. You have to explain the situation first. You can't just say, write me an email based on this. You have to say, this is the type of platform it's coming on. This is the type of email it's going to be. This is the outcome that I want. This is the target demographic. This is the type of language I like to use, the length of it, etc. And you can feed it examples, but don't go into it expecting that you're just going to ask it that question. It spits out perfect copy, right? That's the common misconception, is that it's just going to write it for me. You still need that human aspect that's going to massage it, manipulate it, adjust things, because it has access to all the information. And if you don't put some guardrails behind it and tell it this is the way I want it done, then it's not going to give you the outcome that you want. So writing email copy, doing potential target customer research, right? Whether using ChatGPT or the others. I won't share all the secrets of what we use, but you can say, hey, this is a current customer list of people that we're going after. Go find me other companies that are similar. And you could get some great stuff from that. You could also get some garbage. And even if you say, this is what we do, this is our target demographic, these types of companies, it will give you some good information back. We've got a couple of systems that we've built that perfect it to where it's been trained and understands exactly what we're looking for. So when we ask it for information back as far as target companies to go after, it's pretty accurate to like 80, 90% from the get go. And then from there, we take that information, do the research to find contacts, personas, etc., build a list using different systems, pulling it back together, and then putting it into an outbound strategy. But you have to go into it saying the possibilities are endless with AI.
Yeah, for sure. One key thing that you should always do when you're using AI, let's use ChatGPT in this example, is that you have to tell it what it is, or who it is, right? If you're gonna ask it to write emails for you, you have to basically give that instruction in the first few sentences. You are a uh, the best marketing copywriter, or you are the best blog writer. So because that way, ChatGPT will narrow down all the information that it has, the millions of pages of knowledge that it has, and then it'll look at it with a mindset, kind of like of a person that you're asking it to be. So it's kind of like giving it a personality, a persona, or even a job type or title. And that way, everything that after you do that, everything in that conversation will be more specific, more accurate.
Yeah, we just here all the GPTs that we create, the custom ones, we go with a. I started this trend, and Christians been keeping it going. We go with a Greek god theme, and so we've got some pretty funny names, some hard to pronounce. But yeah, I mean, use the tools that are available to you to help you do your job more efficiently or faster. But by no means replacing somebody with it, but it can certainly increase the user experience on a website, even integrating with a chatbot type thing, getting it to a certain point and then kicking it over to a salesperson, right? That's something that we're in the development stages of having AI engage with people on the site, And then once it reaches a certain point, then it triggers me to jump in, whether it's through Slack or through the app. I get the notification, then I jump into the conversation. And that's really the best way to do it,
Yeah.
right? Is not to replace somebody, but to accentuate it.
Yeah, and I was curious if someone in the audience is using AI in a specific way. Maybe Laura, maybe we can ask or check. Can we have some of you that are in the audience today let us know how you're using it, how has it benefited you, or if you have any questions, we'd be happy to jump on them.
Yeah. Or even if you have a situation where you're like, I wanted to do this, this, and that. What do you guys think I should do? What system should I use for AI? All right. Number 3.
Right. Marketing mistake number 3 you want to avoid in 2025 is the poor pipeline management. Kyle, tell me about that.
Poor pipeline management. This is something that I'm passionate about. So what that means is, so let's say that I'm sales and Christian's marketing. Christian's job is to bring me leads. And my job is also to get my own leads. I can't rely on Christian just to bring me leads because I have to go and hunt myself. So Christian brings me a lead. I have that conversation, and at some point, the wheels fall off and I get ghosted. Or at some point, there's a stall or delay in the sales process. What will happen with most salespeople is they have the shiny object syndrome, to where Christian's like, hey, Kyle, I got 3 more leads for you. I'm like, cool. And they're bigger leads. And I forget about that lead that was a smaller lead that ghosted me. And then 3 days later, he brings me more leads. Or next week, I would get more leads. And then I'm doing some outreach through social and about email marketing. I get my leads. And I'm still forgetting about that lead number 1 that ghosted me. And this is where, like I've said numerous times before in hundreds of videos, the money is in the follow-up when it comes to sales. If I forget about those people and I'm not following up with them, I'm not keeping top of mind, I'm not continuing to work them through the process, even if there's no chance, even if Christian looked at it and said to me, dude, there's no way possible that that person would be a client, they're not going to respond to you. I will still continue to try different means of outreach, different timing, different schedules, other people in the company, etc., because we already spent money in some regard, either on the brand or through outbound efforts or through inbound efforts with like paid media and SEO and stuff. We spent money for Christian to bring me that lead. I don't want to just let that lead shrivel up and die, because if I look at my total money spent on marketing versus deals that I've closed, the ratio is not going to be accurate if I'm taking leads and I'm just like, oh, I'm not going to work that one all the way through. So from a pipeline management standpoint, this is the area to make a massive impact. We can talk to any company, show me your pipeline, show me your CRM with your deals in the different stages, and I will show you right now areas where there's no follow-up activity in 2 weeks, 30 days, 60 days. Where's that deal at? Oh yeah, they never responded to me. That fell off. That's what typically happens in any organization. It's not a person thing. It's not like, oh, well, that salesperson sucks, that's why they didn't follow up. It's you have to have a system built to be able to handle it. So for instance, Christian may say, hey, Kyle, you're busy doing these calls and quoting and all these meetings. Once it reaches a certain point, I throw it back to Christian and say, can you get some re-engagement from this person? They've ghosted me for the last 30 days. And then Christian says, I'm going to grab that contact. I'm going to take them back into marketing, do some sequences so the emails are coming from me, and it's just light follow-up. Or you look at it and you lost a deal. When you lost a deal, that's just, it's not a no, it's just a not right now. Even if they literally say no, I still look at it as not right now. So maybe in 12 months or 6 months, I want to follow up. That's where it comes to that pipeline management, where I can give it back to Christian and he can say, hey, in 4 months, 6 months, I'm going to send him this email. And then from there, I'm going to send him another email 2 months later, because I'm just looking at some type of engagement. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. And to give you some perspective, we practice what we preach. So I have a new nickname for Kyle this year. Kyle, you know what it is, right?
Is it the grave digger? What
The grave digger. Because Kyle has gone back, 12, 15, 24 months, and he has gone back to those leads that didn't say yes or said no, or just simply ghosted us. And he's been able to bring back some interest. Actually, I would say it's been a very successful effort, because we've gotten deals that are about to close or have closed from just leads that we had in our pipeline. And then the key point here, the takeaway is, don't sleep on those old unsold or inactive leads. Just reach out to them, keep them warm, keep them on the loop, because that's easy money. You already paid for it, like Kyle said. And then if you need help on that, we're more than happy to show you the inner workings of how we do it for ourselves, for our clients, so that can have a big impact on your revenue.
Yeah. So the takeaway with point number 3, 2 things. One, no doesn't mean no. It just means not right now. And don't use that in all aspects of your life. And also, no deal is ever dead. If you have a strong marketing system for pipeline management and you've got a team or an agency or somebody that's following that, tracking it, setting everything up, then as deals come in and flow out, like it's a funnel, right? Deals come into the top, customers out through the bottom, but there's all those little holes on the outside where they're going to start to ghost you. And this is just like reinforcement to keep them within the funnel. What's number 4? 2 more left.
Number four, I'm passionate about, so I'm gonna prepare this
Oh, shoot.
to really,
Are we pulling the pin? Should we do it, Lara? Will it mess up your camera gear?
Marketing mistake number 4 you should avoid in 2025: an outdated marketing tech stack. What do we mean by this? Well, if you're still using pen and paper to write down your leads, if you're using even a spreadsheet, Google Excel, you're doing it wrong. You are using an outdated tech stack for your marketing. And I've seen this. Kyle has seen this in his discovery calls. There's a lot of companies out there that are looking to grow, and the first fundamental building block of growth is your marketing tech stack, and they are using tools that are not poised or not designed to help you grow.
Yeah, and then when I have the conversations with most people look at it and be like, dude, that's a lot of money. Whether it's $500, $1,000 a month, $5,000 a month, they're like, that's an insane amount of money, and it can be. And you got to make sure that you're just getting what you need and not overbuying of what you may need in the future. Just start off with what you need to get the job done, so you can do a true ROI on that tech stack. But you got to look at the system that's basically fueling everything. So if you look at your own company and the operation side of it, this is where any company, for the most part, with the exception of us maybe, will spend as much money as they want on operations, operational efficiency, systems, processes, programs, etc. But then on the marketing side, they're like, well, you don't need that. You can just use this system. If that was the response, just use a spreadsheet. For everything on the operations side, your company probably would not be as big as it is. But they're able to get away with it on operations because they can measure the efficiency and the gains, right? If I put in this technology, I'm going to save this many dollars because it's saving me people, hours, or increasing the net profit. On the flip side, if you don't have number 1, which is the performance side of it and metrics tracked in, then you won't be able to quantify the savings that you're going to get by having the system. Without a centralized system or without marketing tech stack that's up to date, you can't possibly move at the speed that you want to move. And you also aren't going to be able to measure the results of what you did. So you got to go into it and say, if you're trying to do something new in 2025 or planning for 2026, put aside a section of your budget that says, I'm going to have to update my tech stack, possibly. Maybe it's going to be 10 grand over the year. Maybe it's going to be 50 grand over the year. Depending on your situation, it could be more. But you have to go into it and say, I need to update this. This has to be antiquated and outdated. Technology every 3 years makes massive leaps and bounds. So you got to go into it knowing that what you're using might not be the best system out there right now.
So let's go a bit into the specific of what is, right, a marketing tech stack. Well, the big one, the main one is your website, right? Your website basically is an extension of your sales team. If you have a sales team, is an extension of your marketing team. If you have a marketing team, it's basically a 24/7 storefront that is open to prospects and customers alike to find out more information about you, your products, or your services. So if you have a website, when was the last time that you went in and changed the content on the website? Did you have a SEO audit performed by an agency to figure out if Google is actually finding and showing your website when the people that are your prospects, you're most likely to engage or buy, people are looking for the solution to their problems? So if you're not sure when was the last time your website was updated, if you don't even have the login to the back end of your website, let me tell you something. You are in danger, because that means that you don't have access to your website. Someone else has access to your website. Someone else has the keys to the kingdom. And if something goes wrong, you can't fix it, and you don't know who's going to fix it. you might as well be losing money down the drain. So please have your website, at least know who owns or who has access to your website. And then number two is, what are you using for email marketing and for outreach? Are you using MailChimp? Yeah. Klaviyo? HubSpot? Yay. Uh, if you're using anything outside of those three, there's a bunch of options out there. But if you need maybe help, assistance into defining what you have and figuring out what's the best option for you, let us know. We're more than happy to help you. No commitment necessary. A 15-minute call will save you 50% or more on your email marketing.
on your car insurance, right? Yeah. What do you think? How many years do you think a company can go through on their website before they need like a complete overhaul?
Well, let me tell you something real quick. If you have a WordPress website and you haven't touched it in 3 years old, it's probably full of viruses, malware, because the PHP version on older websites went from, I think, 5 to 8 in the last couple of years. And it's just because of the technology, right? Whatever's under the hood,
Yeah.
it's built in a more secure way, more streamlined way. And if you have an old website you haven't touched, it's probably full of things that you don't want.
Yeah.
We've seen websites, clients come to us, it's like, hey, there's some casino ads on the side. There's some weird stuff popping up. And it's basically because they haven't updated the tech stack behind the website. So yeah, pretty much 3 years. It's 3 years is the limit, I would say.
So if you got a WordPress site, which people are like, I don't use WordPress, I've got a custom coded site. That way of like the custom coding thing, that's not cool anymore. That was cool in the early 2000s, unless it's a very specific use case. But if in those very specific use cases, I've never come across one that isn't like build a WordPress as the core CMS, customize it out the wazoo, and then have a subdomain or an add-on domain with that use of custom code for that environment, whether it's shopping, whether it's quoting, whatever the program is that you're trying to run with the custom code. Just do it as an add-on domain or a subdomain, but have the core as WordPress. That is the best out there. If you're on the e-commerce side, BigCommerce is the biggest there. It's not just because they're also an Austin-based company and right down the street from us, but they are one of the biggest in the space as far as an e-com side. You can use Magento. Not many people like it. There's lots of options out there, but look at it and say like if you're not using the core foundational stack for your website that is widely used, then most likely you're going to need to do a massive overhaul and a transition in the next couple of years. And then even if you are using one of the WordPresses or BigCommerce or things like that, then you still need to update it every few years, whether it's refreshing content, stuff changes, how people want to consume content, how they're scrolling, the user experience, all this stuff. That stuff changes like every single year. So you have to change your website with it. And then you said the email outreach, email and outbound outreach, that 100% agree. Tech stack number two, what is the core system that you're using to communicate with potential customers that's not just social or paid media? What does your outbound arm look like? How are you gathering all that information in? Millions of options out there. Some good ones that we like. We like HubSpot. We like Apollo. We like Instantly. We don't like Sugar. We don't like MailChimp. We don't like Constant Contact. Salesforce is good, but that doesn't have the outreach side of it. Pardot and Marketo has limitations, very expensive, and typically sucks. We just moved a client this year,
right,
end of last year, off of that system into HubSpot. And then also you've got the Microsoft Dynamics 365 crew out there that most people that use it don't love it, but they have to use it because the company that they have is the one that paid for it and isn't willing to change. So definitely look at the tech stack. Anything else that's under the what's included?
I would just say just one thing, one homework for everyone that's watching. Go to your website, scroll all the way down, and look at the copyright little notice.
Oh yeah.
If the year is not 2023, I'm gonna give you all the way back to 2023. If it's 2023 or earlier, just give us a call. Yeah. We want to help you, because that means that sometimes people just leave it and they forget to update that, but that means that no one has updated the site in so long. So please do yourself a favor, scroll all the way down, look at that copyright notice if you have it, and check the year. If it's before 2023, give us a call.
Yeah. So before 2023, you need help. We'll put a heart underneath that. A heart that looks like, that's a pretty ghetto heart. I mean, there's so much in the tech stack. I mean, we can go on forever. What's your internal communication methods? How are you guys recording your meetings with your potential customers or customers? How you get phone call recording, inbound calls. This is something that we've had to push so hard with our current customers and prospects. Is all right, we're doing all this paid media stuff. We're doing outbound email marketing. You've got a CRM system in place, but if somebody picks up the phone and calls, we lose visibility. So you got to have a tech stack solution to that. We like CallRail, integrate it in the front end, different phone numbers for different things. That way we can track everybody coming through the pipeline. Where did you come from? How did you get here? And then be able to make decisions on marketing performance there. So look at your tech stack from the beginning side of outbound all the way through the customer or prospect journey into a customer and customer journey. And afterwards, that's what you should be focused on updating. All right, what's number 5? Last but certainly not least.
Last, drum roll, please. Having the wrong budgets, meaning budget for
Wrong
people
budget.
or a wrong budget on expectations. That's interesting, Kyle.
So let's talk about the wrong people. Wrong budget for people. One person can't do everything for your marketing, right? A lot of companies will say, this is my marketing person. And people may be like, how big are those companies? Companies that are a couple hundred million to maybe 300-400 million have one person in marketing that's in charge of everything. And the mistake that they make is they say this person can do everything. Well, they can't. You have to outsource stuff to agencies or preferably one partner agency. But you look at it and say, okay, well, I just need 2 people. But even 2 people or 3 people, if they don't have specific skill sets, they can't possibly move the needle for you. You can't expect one person to do all your social and email and outbound and website and SEO. Okay, I'm going to add a second person that does graphics. Okay, cool. You've got a graphics designer and a marketer. That marketer still can't do everything with all of those different areas. So that's budget mistake number 1 that I see so often. Marketing is at most in most industries the smallest department that gets the least amount of credit. And number 2, budget on the expectations is going to be, I think that if I spend $100,000 a year, that's a lot of money on marketing. But my expectations is that marketing is going to bring me 10 million in business. And that balance, I mean, can it? Absolutely, it can. But if you're seeking 10 million in new business or $1 million in new business, and you're only willing to spend like 15 grand to get it, that seems like a mismatched budget. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Yeah, exactly. And I think also, depending on how much you generate, right, and how much you want to grow, it should be that allocation of the budget. Forever, it's been like written in stone, right, that you should around 15% of your income, right, or your revenue should be
15?
15, yeah. You haven't heard that before?
No, man. I've always heard 2%.
2%. Well, maybe 2% of overall
Oh yeah,
revenue, but let's say in the net income, right?
Oh, net income,
Net
yeah,
income,
yeah,
15%.
yeah.
Right. So, and if you put it in perspective, right? Let's say, I don't know, if you want to go to the gym and you want to do, better, you want to be,
You want to drop 50 pounds.
drop 50 pounds or be healthier.
Let's say drop 20 pounds.
Okay. Let's say you want to drop 20 pounds.
Yeah.
Right? So depending on how much effort you put into it is the results, right? So if you put low effort, then you'll get minimal results. So it's the same thing with marketing. The more you invest in it, the more results you're going to get, the more channels you can apply the budget to, the more people you can hire. You can even hire an agency. And one thing that I've noticed, and this is nothing against obviously interns and family members that work on your company, but sometimes companies kind of like default into, oh, I'm going to hire an intern to do all of this cool AI stuff, or I'm going to hire my nephew because they are graduated high school and they know all about technology, and that's great. That's a great starting point. But if you want to get to the next level, then you should really consider if you're going to build a team, an internal team that will take care of all aspects of marketing for you, or if you can hire an agency like ours to handle the strategy, execution, performance analysis of what you do. Really, really put that into consideration and not just default to going with the cheapest option.
So let's break down some math. 100% agree with that. Like if you got friends, family, nephews, cousins, etc., and you want them to handle some of the marketing stuff, absolutely. Keep your expectations minimal, and also don't expect everybody has access to all the information. anybody can read any book. It's the implementation and the experience that comes with the price tag, right? I can take somebody off the street who has a degree in GPT, let's say, not even like a prompting degree. They just use GPT a lot. I say, write me email copy. Could they write it? Sure. But it's the experienced person that's going to be able to make the adjustments based on the performance, tracking it all the way through, and not just doing a task-oriented mindset, but looking at the full funnel, the full picture. How are we going to work this thing through? So let's go through some math real quick. So if your revenue is 10 million and let's say 2.5% on marketing, you should be spending 250,000 on marketing per year. If your revenue is 100 million, you should be spending 2.5 million on marketing per year. And if your revenue is is 250 million, you should be at somewhere around 6.25 million per year. So just put that in perspective. Just take your number, multiply it by 0.025 to get your percentage of what just general ballpark your budget should be. Some people say 1%, but it's usually between 1 and 2.5% of your total annual revenue should be spent on marketing to keep you at that level or increase you from there. Now, how you spend that money, if I'm a $10 million a year business and I've got 250 grand to spend, I say, all right, I've got a marketing person, they're 60 grand, 70 grand, 80 grand. So take that out of it. Now I've got 170 left over. What am I going to do with this money? How you use that money is going to dictate your results. You could say, all right, I'm going to use it to do some print advertising in some magazines. I'm going to go on Channel 5 News and have a little show. Maybe I'll do some iHeartRadio stuff. But if your demographic is not consuming that content in those ways, you're not going to see an ROI on that. So the first thing is set the budget to be somewhat realistic. Just use 1 or 2% of your total revenue as a general ballpark and go into it and say, this is how much money I have to spend. Exactly how am I going to spend it? That's a conversation with us or an agency like ours to say, what's the current situation? What are you trying to do? And how are we going to get there? Those 3 simple questions. And then we'll be able to develop the strategy and say, be based on what you want and these things that you need to do, it's going to cost you this much money. Super simple formula. All right, let's go to the comments, Laura. What do you got? Comments, questions, concerns, or just like, hey, we love you guys. Show us more.
Sai said, I was so waiting for this for a long time.
Dang, Sai. We've been waiting for you to join for a long time. Let's go.
LinkedIn user, so they don't have their public profile on. I'm assuming it's Lenore.
Okay.
Loves the intro.
Lenore, thank you, Lenore. That was my hard work. Actually, no. I did nothing for it. I knew nothing about it. That was all the team.
Let's say a little trivia. If anyone out there that doesn't work in our agency knows which director the intro was inspired on, put it in the comments and we'll send you something. Maybe some stickers.
Oh, okay.
Some Milan Media stickers.
There you go.
You get it right.
Some of our new stickers.
Swag.
Let's see. Pete Farrar says, good info.
Thanks, Pete.
Thanks for joining us, Pete.
Mo Unscripted said, brother, I wanted to connect with you.
Brother, I'm sitting right here. Send me a connection request. Send one to Christian too.
Sai asked, is SEO dead?
Oh my gosh, that's like the... So no, SEO is not dead. SEO will never be dead, but did SEO change? Yes, and will continue to evolve. Yes. With the new release on the 21st of May from Google saying that ads are now going to show up in AI summary. They're also going to have an AI mode. And Christian, do you want to explain the new look and feel that you saw?
Oh yeah. Right now, Google is pretty much experimenting, testing, rolling out sponsor ads groupings that look like organic results. So basically, they have one heading that says sponsor results, and then all of the ads are lined up, and they all look like they're organic results. So it's going to be pretty interesting how people will react, because we expect more people to click on ads because they look less like ads moving forward. But yeah, SEO is not dead. If anything, if you lack in your SEO efforts, that will hurt you in your AI overview and in your AI snippet that shows up at the top for some of the search results. Also, another thing that we've seen is that if you search for how to or informational questions, then you'll get the AI snippet. But if you're searching for an actual product or sometimes a service, then you'll get the sponsored ads first. So it's really going to depend on how this evolves as Google tests.
Yeah, I think that's the most common question we get. Most common two questions we've gotten in the last, I don't know, 30 days is number one, is AI or is SEO dead? Or number two, how do I show up in the AI search results? And it's like, it's all SEO. So no, AI is not, SEO isn't dead. It's just adjusting and evolving. And depending on these new tests that Christian's talking about with the group sponsored posts. So normally when you see a sponsored ad by Google, next to each ad slot, it says sponsored in the top left corner. What they're playing with now, Christian's got it on his computer, and we just stumbled across it once they pushed it live last week, was it says sponsored at sponsored results, I think it says. Sponsored results at the top, and you've got ad placements below it, but each one does not say sponsored. And then you've got usually the map if it's something local, and then organic below that. So it's a little bit of trickery with the new system and the things that they're testing. So that could just mean that SEO is going to change if that's the path that they continue going down. And then paid media has a bigger play into the whole realm of things because it doesn't look like a sponsored post anymore. It looks like organic. So that's the main thing we're seeing.
Can you hit that battery notification on your iPad?
Yeah, I can.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Marlo guessed Wes Anderson inspired the.
Oh,
Marlo.
dang. Okay, we'll have to send you something, Marlo.
Thank you, Marlo. Good job. That was the correct answer.
Yeah. Hopefully, give us a comment if you liked it. It's a completely different style. It's not usually what we do with the show, but if you like it, just say I like the intro. That'll give some feedback to the creative department that said, you know what we should do? We should do a Wes Anderson themed intro based on a customer that we did something for. And we did it. And I was like, I don't even know if people are going to know it. Once they see it, they might be like, this is a boring intro. Or if they know Wes Anderson, they'd be like, this is super cool and creative. So if you like it, put I like the intro in the comment section.
Marlo also added, can you talk about Google showing YouTube and Instagram videos in search?
Yeah. So if you look at all search results, are we on camera, middle camera? That one. If you look at all search results, as you search, Google or YouTube's always going to have a section of like showing typically the top 3 videos, and then Instagram will get fed into there based on the results and based on the popularity of that searches. It's going to feed in those videos. As SEO changes and as Google plays around with this sponsored grouping instead of sponsored posts per ad, as it changes, it's going to place more value on being essentially in the top 3. So, I mean, organically, Google always shows Instagram results depending on the competitiveness of that search phrase. But while Instagram is a singular platform, to me, YouTube's going to be more important to show up for that because it is the number 2 search platform. So if you search something on Google, you're going to get sponsored posts, maybe something local. Below that, you're typically going to get the top 3 videos from that subject, and then below that, you get organic. If you want to make sure that like video will always have its place, it's always going to be near the top because Google knows that people like to consume content in video and be educated in video. All depends on the search phrases, but it just places more importance on showing up at the top of that search result. So if in your business you're like, you know, we do X, Y, and Z, and you Google search that to try and find your competitors or try and find yourself, and like, how do we rank in the search phrase? And there are no videos, create a video for that and create videos for that and other similar phrases. So that way you do create a video section that shows up at the top. Then you don't have to worry as much or place as much importance on, I get one spot in organic results at the bottom. You can say, hey, I got the top 3 videos and I've got the top images. So therefore I'm going to be in the AI summary if it's generating a summary. Plus I'm number 5 organically on a web page. You basically got like the trifecta there. So you may want to focus more on video depending on what the phrase is. But that's just as important as showing up organically number 1 in the search results is showing up organically number 1 in video, especially if it's a competitive phrase. That's what I would say to it. Anything to add?
Yeah. So I was checking here because there's a guy named John Mueller which he works at Google, specifically Google Search, and he usually has a very technical and detailed and accurate answer to questions like this. So he says that Google has a different index for YouTube videos than for images and for web results. And the key point is the relevancy, right? If Google notices that more and more people actually go to the video tab for a specific query, then they'll start showing videos. So the point here is the relevancy of the search. And if you have a video or if you want to create a video, just make sure that it's relevant enough to be able to answer a question that people have.
Yeah. Yeah. So obviously, if it's like a how-to or things like that, typically somebody's already created a video. But sometimes the best distributor, the best solution, the best manufacturer of, etc., create a video for that because there might not be one already.
Let's see. I hope I don't butcher this name. Avra Bose says, I need 1.5 million for my startup. How should I approach the investors?
I mean, I got no experience with that, man. I would say, why go play with somebody else's money personally? Like, just build it yourself through hard work and don't ask for investment. If you're like because here's the thing, I think that too many people just go to investors and say, here's my idea. I don't have any money to put towards it. I've done as much as I can, but I want you to invest in me. And usually people waste that money and then you just piss off investors and then you file for bankruptcy. So I would say, don't go to investors because then you're going to not have the upper hand in your own business. I would say build it for yourself from the ground up. Maybe it's a smaller scale. And then once you get big enough, maybe then iteration number 2, once you have a proven process or a proven method to generate revenue, then go and get some funding for it. But personally, I'm against going and asking people for money to fund something that I haven't proven worked. Anything to add, Christian?
Yeah, I'm also in the bootstrap crew. Definitely, if you have, it seems like you have the idea and you have everything set up, but you need the money. Sometimes I've seen that that's an approach that doesn't really generate a lot of success because then you're just trying to fund an idea, but sometimes reversing engineering that, just going to what investors are looking for, right? What's out there, doing some research on that will actually get the investors coming to you. So maybe try a different approach on the idea that you have and see if investors are looking for something like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great golden nugget there. What are investment companies investing in these days? Maybe from a software standpoint, tech stack, or a product, and then go and make a better mousetrap, right? Because then they may come to you and be like, "Hey, I heard about this," but I have never personally, only speaking from personal experience, met anybody that had an idea, had investors invest 1.5 million, and then they took off. Usually, after a couple of years, tanks, or there's a reorganization, or a restructuring, or a change of scope of what we're trying to go after. I would say build it, and then if you want to take it to the next level and you need investment money, then you have some proven stuff to go to them and say, "This is what I've got, and this is the successes I've had, and this is the money that I've made, or users that I've gotten on my platform." And then from there, say, in order for me to go to the next level, if I can have an investment of $1 million and it'll give you this percentage of the company, if I have that investment, I can take it to this level, and here's my plan to get there. You go in, you have a proven capability to create attention, earn money, get users, whatever it is. And then from there, you're just asking for people to put a little fuel on the fire.
Yeah, and to end that, investors rarely fund ideas. They do fund working prototypes, working businesses, working platforms, right? Things that have a proven record to some extent.
Because if you think about it, if you go up to somebody and say, "Can I borrow $1.5 million?" Like, I don't know you from Joe Schmo across the street, so my answer is going to be no. But if you say, can I interest you in investing this much money? Here's what I've already done. Here's a success that I've had. You can trust me that your money is not going to just get blown and wasted on stuff, and then in 5 years file bankruptcy. So there's a lot of trust built there. In order to build that trust, you have to have something to prove. That's not every person that creates anything thinks that what they created is the best. Nothing's wrong with it. Most likely there's significant issues with whatever it is that you're going down. So just be open to that feedback.
I'm reading this comment here. Long.
Oh, geez. Long comment. We love long comments. Lars just looking at it first to make sure it's not inappropriate.
That's correct. It says, "Hi, I'm from Brazil. I'm helping in the marketing area of my father's company, which is an energy transformer industry. I'm using a lot of the contents that are being shown on your channel."
Awesome. Thank you. Be sure to go over to YouTube and follow our content and send us some connection requests on LinkedIn. Christian and I both.
Yeah, and drop your company's URL so we can follow it. We'd love to see how it grows and
Yeah.
evolves.
That's all the
We love
comments and
Brazil.
questions.
That's it.
Mhm.
All right, guys, that's all that we got. If you haven't already sent me a connection request on LinkedIn or Christian a connection request or followed us, follow the company, head over to YouTube, subscribe to my channel and the company's, and we will be back in 30 days on August something, the first Tuesday of every month. We'll be back to talk more about marketing, sales, everything in between. And we'll see you on the next one.
Nice to be chatting with you.